Hey comrades, and welcome to another episode of We Read It One Night, a podcast where two sisters chat about romance novels and whatever else happens to float through our minds. In this week's episode, we're kicking off Pride Month with Sapphic Delight, Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. This grumpy sunshine, small town, childhood enemies to lovers romance is angsty, funny, charming, and we all know most importantly, pretty sexy. We're also excited for our upcoming Eras Tour show. In this episode, we discuss the anatomy of a wicked stepsister. We dunk on basically every single one of the men in this book, and we spend every 5 minutes talking about how we just want to give Delilah a hug. Don't forget to leave us a rating and review while you're listening. Check out our Etsy shop, Evelyn and Adelaide, for all your Pride Month wardrobe needs, and enjoy the show.
I have a cat next to me, which is exciting.
His name is
Cat
Nemo.
sitting. Yeah, he's a good boy. He's very big. I think his owner wanted me to put him on a diet. So the first 2 nights he woke me up crying in the middle of the night. And I finally looked it up and I was like, yeah, the way that he's getting 50% of his calories that he's supposed to get based on his weight. I don't know. I just feel cat, you just commit. The cat's fat. The cat's fat. I'm sorry. What are we going to commit to the cat just being starving the rest of its life? No.
I get. That's when Bob always criticizes Addie for not chasing birds at the window the same way Evie does. I was like, well, she's smart enough to know that she can't catch the birds, so why exert the energy?
I don't even think yeah, she's fine. So yeah, let me know if you have any requests for friendship bracelets, for ones that you want for yourself. We have My Mind is Alive, McCavity.
Nice. I gotta do that one. I'm the only one of us that's been in Cats.
Yeah. And Benny Boy. I need to make one
I
for
really
cats.
need her, please, to sing a song from Cats.
I know.
At least she could sing her original song, because I'm sure she owns the copyright to that. You know what I mean? I'm sure that's her song. Because otherwise she would have to license it. But
I really listen. It's a good joke. It's a great joke. Even that being said, if you somehow manifest that for our tour date, I'm gonna be.
If Taylor Swift
not
came out at our tour in a leotard and suddenly surprised us in a 3-hour performance of Cats,
you don't have to worry about her
concert.
The leotard, she's all over the bodysuits.
I would be so fine with it
instead of her concert.
If she suddenly just came out. What a story that would be.
What are you saying?
You're not going to be one of the plebs who've seen the same songs everybody else gets to see. You're going to get to see Taylor Swift perform Cats live in a stadium.
I did already watch the whole thing on live multiple times.
Well, Cats, yeah. I'm just saying, what a story that would tell. I was there in Texas when Taylor Swift performed Cats live.
Okay, so the book we're doing is Delilah Green Doesn't Care by
Ashley Herring Blake. I think that's how you pronounce her name. I went and got the book at Barnes & Noble, actually.
Oh, wow. I see it.
And I've always liked the cover, but I don't think I've ever seen it in person. And
oh yeah, you really can't see the
better.
At least on the audiobook cover. Yeah, I really couldn't tell what their faces or I couldn't see their tattoos. Let me see the full. Let me see the bottom.
I've never been able to see the full see what her tattoos actually.
Let me see the bottom. Yeah. Huh. I'm reading the second book in this right now, separately.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I already read it. It was nice.
So this book is about Delilah Green, shockingly. Who's
and Claire something.
Claire's
last name.
Yeah, I don't really want to know, honestly. It's just Claire. It's better. One name,
she's Claire.
A one-word name is better. And Delilah is basically just poster child for avoidant attachment. That's what it's giving. I don't know how else. I feel like that is a very defining personality trait.
Yeah, Delilah, and then Claire is the love interest who we'll meet in a bit. And Claire has a 10-year-old daughter named Ruby. And this made me think, because I've been going back and forth over probably the last year of yeah, I want kids, but the idea of committing for minimum 5 years to having to be with them, to having to put your life on hold to take care of your kids, minimum until they start going to school, and not be, that kind of stuff. That just, I was that seems a lot of work.
Yeah. I think it's a lot of work even after that. Yeah.
No, I know it's a lot of work after, but I don't know, just the idea of a child who needs like a kid, like a toddler and like a baby, you need to like be watching them and entertaining them. Like they can't really entertain
Someone needs
themselves.
to be. Someone needs
right,
to be.
Right. Whereas like older children can stimulate themselves.
I mean, they can entertain themselves. What do you mean? Do you just mean like for safety?
I don't know.
Watch them?
We're going too far. We're going too far.
Okay. Can finish your thought.
I was thinking about Claire and I was like, honestly, like that would be the ideal situation, would just to be like, to like marry someone who already had a child. And then you come in as the cool step parent. And so like you get to like be a parent.
You're thinking like Delilah.
Yeah. Huh. No, not Claire. I don't want to have a kid at 19. I mean, thankfully I'm past the teen pregnancy.
You're thinking about Claire. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think that definitely works for a certain type of person.
But honestly, I think only if my partner were a woman.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I would necessarily want to marry a man with kids.
Yeah.
Our great grandmother.
Oh yeah, I know. He's like marrying you to take care of the kids. Yeah.
Yeah. Having just my own children with a man is already like up in the air. Like, I don't know if I want to risk that, but like,
right.
So not even my children. Yeah. Okay. Anyway. Yeah. Delilah's a messy hoe and she wakes up we begin the book. She like wakes up in bed to her phone ringing, except instead of it being described as her phone vibrated on the nightstand, it's described as a gyrating phone. And it really just took me out of the whole thing. I was like, why is the phone gyrating? I just feel like gyrating is a word not used for inanimate objects. I feel like gyrating is like a dance move kind of thing.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Not that kind of, well, I guess we're picturing like a cartoon phone that's like bouncing so much that it starts like turning.
I know, but like, I don't know. Anyway, it really took me out of the moment.
Delilah's mom died when she was a baby. Her dad remarried this woman who also had a daughter, and they lived happily together as like a combined family for 2 years until Delilah was like 10 when her dad suddenly died. And she was left to live with her stepmother and stepsister and basically just like hated it. Like Delilah was basically just like a really shy kid who like didn't talk and just didn't really feel wanted at all. And like, you know, her dad was like her safe person that he died. Her stepmom sucks. She thinks her stepsister sucks too. And that like she had like friends, really close friends that would always be over. But like from Delilah's perspective, like they just didn't want her around and like never tried to include her. And they're like the mean girls.
Yeah. They called her the ghoul of wisteria.
Yeah. Like they did say that at one point. Mean. Sure. But like, they were like, won't you hang out with us? And like, you know, yeah. So one of those girls is Claire, who's going to be the love interest.
Yeah.
And the other one is Iris, who's like, yeah. So Delilah like left home when she was 18, moves to New York, and like has been making like basically everyone in this book series, I think is funny. Like they're all like queer women and they're all like artist jobs, but like for some of them it's played off as like boring. Like I thought it was funny. Like Delilah's a photographer, right? And that's like portrayed as like, you know, it's like she's taking a risk. She's like fully like an artist, like, you know, could play out, couldn't, like she doesn't have an agent at this point. But like Astrid, who's the stepsister, she's an interior designer. And like, so I'm reading, I guess I mostly know this because I read the second book, but that's like played off like almost as if like she worked at a bank. It's like, why did you give up your dreams to like be an interior designer? Why didn't you go for what you actually wanted?
Because her mom made her do
I know. But like, it's funny because it's like, that's the interior designer, at least to me, it feels like the type of job that like people would tell you is impractical.
Yeah.
Right. They'd be like, that's too risky. Like, it's not the same as like, I'm going to go be an accountant. You know, a real accountant, not like a strip. Yeah. Like a sex worker accountant.
An accountant.
Yeah, exactly.
I do feel like interior designer, like when I picture interior designer, I picture wealthy, like white woman. So I picture Astrid and Isabel, her mom. Like I picture that type of person. Like that being something that like someone with generational wealth.
Well, but like in the way that most artists are people with generational wealth.
Yeah, I know, but like
afford to do it.
But specifically like the super pot, like not even try, like, I don't know, like the super posh side of that.
Sure. And then like Claire owns a bookstore, like, which is also
that's not really an artist job. I mean, she inherited a small business from her mom.
Sure. But like owning a successful, I don't know. It's a very like, that's not portrayed as like, oh, this is boring. Like she likes doing that, but that's kind, I don't know. And Iris like designs planners for people, which is not, if I had a nickel for Like Iris is going to get her own book. I'm pretty sure. Like she's the third book's coming out like later this year, next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I had a nickel for every time I read a romance book that like the person's job was designing planners, I'd have 2 nickels. This other one, I can't remember what it was called. And it was like, yeah, I don't know. I just remember that was her job. I think it was by the same woman who wrote that like one with the apartment and the doctor, and I don't know.
What?
I don't know. Okay. I can explain it to you if it's not. Yeah. But yeah, what a niche job.
I do
like
see
that's
that,
a niche
however,
rich person job. Like, I don't know.
No,
I
succeed.
You have to know.
No, I see the like in real life as like that being a thing that like it'll be like how to earn like 10K a month on Etsy, and it'll be like create this planner in Canva for free and then like sell it using like a printing service or just make it digital. And like you just do a bunch of products like that, which like it doesn't really seem to be what Iris is doing. She seems to make like custom things, but I'm sure she has like templates that like you can just buy if you don't want to like
pay, but like people say that like the 10K thing, but it's not actually like easy to do. It's a very like you have to like have a lot of things go. Yeah. I don't know. It's not a job you just like fall back on like a stable career. I don't know.
I will say like at least they're like 30 all. So like it's not like 22-year-olds all with successful small business.
Oh, sure. I just thought it was mostly the Astrid one.
No, I'm saying I liked that.
It was fun that they all had the jobs. Like that could just be like committing to like that's just like a, conceit of not a conceit, but like, it's just like, why not have a theme? I just thought it was funny that we really committed to Astrid being like so boring. I don't know. Anyway, Delilah wakes up in this lady's house. This lady had just bought one of her painting pictures, and Delilah's like, right, peace. I'm never going to text you because I have an avoided attachment style. Yes. If you don't know what that means, type it into TikTok. Like
she doesn't even remember her name. And honestly, the whole bit in this scene is that she's like really funny. Lorelai, Lindsay,
Lilith,
like
Leighton,
somehow
Linda,
Ashley
Lydia
came up with entirely like original L name
behind the name.
Just like a huge list of them.
Alphabetical.
And it was great. I was like,
listen.
this is a great bit. Like I wouldn't, how does Delilah even know that many L names?
No, I love it. Listen, I believe I could come up. Listen. So the phone ringing was Astrid calling Delilah
at like 1 a.m.
to make sure that so Astrid's getting married, and what Delilah thinks is happening is, so the stepmother sucks, but we commit to that the stepmother really loved the stepfather. And so like, that's why she's committed to having Delilah like still be part of the family. So Delilah thinks they're like bribing her with this like $15,000 package to be the photographer of the wedding.
Yeah. And Delilah's like, and I have to take it because like, that's 3 months rent. And I was like, cries in New York City that $15,000 only covers 3 months. And I'm like, that's
especially like after taxes. You have to consider like after taxes,
like plus utilities and like, it does only cover 3 months rent.
I mean, after taxes, like considering it's like over 30% if you're like an independent, you know what I mean? If you're not counting like feet, like,
no. So she's only getting 10K. Yeah, no.
That would cover,
I just
like,
cried a little bit in New York. I also saw a post. I don't know. It was like a BuzzFeed post of like people who feel like they're stuck in relationships or whatever. And like one of the posts was like, I can't afford like to not live with this person because in my area, like you have to make $50,000 a year to afford a 2-bedroom. And I was like, what? I couldn't even fathom. I was like, what area is this that $50,000 will get you a 2-bedroom?
Well, or that like that's a lot that like this person is making obviously less than that,
No. I know. Like I'm saying, they live in an area where like $50,000 a year.
Why do they need a 2-bedroom if they're moving?
I don't know. I didn't read the whole article. It was just like a screenshot. Yeah.
Sure,
anyway.
Sure. Yeah.
But I was just like, it really just hit. It was kind of like like a 1-2 punch of like Delilah Green doesn't care, and then seeing that post of just like more reminders of how fucking expensive New York City is.
Awful.
Okay.
So Delilah like did forget about the wedding. She is planning to come.
Yeah, she will come.
Yeah, she just seems like such a fuckboy, which is the avoidance.
She is.
Yeah.
She is.
Like, she's leaving the lady's house. He's like, "Are you leaving?" And Delilah's like, yeah." Like, I can't even do it because I'm not that type of person. Like, I just. But like you can hear it in your head, like, call me, sure. Like I don't.
Sure.
The narrator does the audiobook narrator does a really good job.
I really like also the way the audiobook narrator says Delilah's name too.
Or
does Delilah's voice specifically? Sorry, Delilah's voice.
Yeah,
I really like Delilah's voice. It's like this husky, like, I was like, perfect.
We really pulls out the fuckboy accent. Listen.
Yeah.
And
she's great.
Yeah. But also can like do the other people. So next we skip, and I was confused at first because all the names, another theme that Ashley Herring like committed to, at least like in this, I didn't notice it as much in the second book, but like all of these names. So it's Delilah, Astrid, Iris. What's the stepmother's name?
Claire.
Isabella,
Yeah.
right? Or Isabel, what's her name?
Isabel.
They're all like, especially like Iris, Astrid, Delilah, they're all like I names, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like and so I was so confused at first because like they were talking about Iris and like at Claire talking, and I was like, that's Delilah who we just met, like, because it's the same name. Like, it really is like a theme. Like, it really is like a sibling stuff. Like, I get it. It's coherent. So I was like, but then they started talking. They were like friends, obviously. And I was like, oh, Delilah has friends. Okay.
Delilah doesn't have friends.
Doesn't really fit.
Like
literally has never had a friend. Not
she
just doesn't now.
She's like, what is this? Is this friendship? Am I feeling friendship?
Yeah.
No, I agree. It is. They are all very similar, which I guess, I mean, this is like a small town romance, right? They all like their hometown is Bright Falls, I think in like Washington.
Yeah, I really like
something.
that name. Oregon, but like, yeah.
Oregon. Yeah. Oh, I thought it was Washington, but they were just close to the border.
I also thought that until the second book, it's Oregon.
Okay. So they live in Oregon, and I feel like that kind of like cohesion in like naming is like important with establishing like the vibes of the small town romance. Every time I've been opening TikTok for like the last few days, the first video is always a use this sound or like
I know. I've been
your family will die like every single time. I'm like, I skip past this. What in the algorithm is making it think that I can want to continue seeing this?
It gets the people going. Listen,
I hate it.
Yeah, every like couple years it comes.
It's like 2009 Facebook,
but also like probably also like the 1980s. Also like every like always.
I don't know. I feel like those things are like. I don't know. I feel like they really reached their peak with social media because it's so much easier to share. Like before you had like computers, it was like, you have to like mail someone, like mail this or like your family will die. Like, whatever.
Exactly. Right. But I mean,
to be
fair, we wouldn't really know what is and isn't. Yeah,
it's true. That's true. I also want to mention Delilah. Well, she's anxious. She's avoidant. What is it? Anxious avoidant?
No, just avoidant. Honestly. Well, I guess she's anxious avoidant, sure. But she's full on, listen, she's avoidant. Yeah.
But one of the reasons she also like she had a serious relationship 5 years ago with someone named Jax. And then Jax cheated on her. Like she walked in on Jax like fucking her ex-girlfriend. And like not to victim blame, but like Jax is absolutely the name of someone who the sapphic woman who would cheat on her girlfriend. Like I've just never heard. Sorry if that's your name, but like God, that's an untrustworthy name if I've ever heard.
Oh, I've never heard. What's her like full name?
I have no idea. It's just called Jax. I just did not vibe with that name.
Huh? It's kind of like Jack. It's like a dog's name, like our dog's name.
See, I was also picturing it spelled Jax. I don't know whether it's spelled JAK. CK like Jax, like plural Jack.
I assumed it was JAX.
The X is worse for me.
Interesting.
If it were like Jack plural, that would be better.
Yeah.
Anyway,
the stepsister Astrid's two friends, like their BFF friends, Iris and Claire, are there, and they're chatting about how Claire hasn't gotten laid, and Iris dares her to go up and talk to someone, like get their number. And both Claire and Iris are bisexual. And in walks Delilah, like unbeknownst to them. So like they grew up together, but they don't recognize her. And Claire is immediately like, oh, that's like a hot girl. Like Delilah's uniform is like tight black jeans, stocks, and like a black tank top / like possibly bomber jacket combo.
And Claire is like, wow, that's my type. And I was like, quite frankly, like based on the cover illustrator, I think one of the reasons I like that cover so much is because Delilah is also my type.
Yeah, like it's a good base outfit.
I'm attracted to this cartoon character.
I could never commit to that. Listen, yeah.
I could never wear
commit
that
to the
outfit.
I could wear it
because of the fact
but it
that
wouldn't have the same effects. Yeah, we don't have dark hair.
Also just because I can't go without a bra with like copious amounts of side boob the way she does because like my boobs are too big.
See, I could do that. Yeah.
Like, yeah, but I was like, yeah, Delilah is my type. Like I couldn't pull it off, but I would very much enjoy being in a relationship with someone who does.
Okay. So anyway, Claire walks up. Delilah does recognize Claire, and she's like, I kind of get it. Like, I haven't really been back to town for like 5 years. That was when I was 25. I'm 30 now. Like, I did give myself an extreme home makeover after Jax dumped me. Not extreme, but like she's, I guess it's unclear like
she
what
did.
exactly
She said, well, I think later on, I think we hear that she only got her first tattoo 5 years ago. So I think she like didn't have tattoos before. And she also mentions that she's like finally managed to like, to manage her curly hair. So like, I guess before it was like just super big and frizzy. So like, I mean, Claire still should have recognized her, but like, I can see like upon first glance, you're not expecting to see that person there. Like, not immediately.
Yeah. And so Delilah does recognize Claire and she's like, this is interesting. Like she thinks of these girls as like the mean girls who like bullied her growing up. And she's like, I could tell her, but like, why? Like this would really piss off Astrid. It'd be really funny. Like if
Delilah's whole mission, this whole book for like half of the book is just
not
piss
even
off Astrid.
Yeah. And so they're like talking, like
flirting.
Astrid walks in and like walks over to Claire at the table, or Iris at the table, and is like, where's Claire? And Claire's like, oh, that's my friend. And like Delilah's like, says something like, I know, or something. And Claire is like, what do you mean? And then Astrid's like, Claire, what's Delilah doing here? Yeah.
Oh, and Astrid walks in being like, oh, you will not believe what my stepsister just
almost did. Yeah. Like almost backed out of being photographer. Right.
Yeah.
I know. Oh my God.
And like, listen, was it a little bit shitty for Delilah not to tell Claire who she was? Yes. Was it funny? Yes.
No, it was really funny. And I just want you to realize it took me like so long. Like literally, I wrote in my notes, I was like, wait, why do these people know Astrid? And then I was like, oh, Astrid isn't Delilah. Okay, got it.
Oh, no.
Oh my God. So Astrid, the man that Astrid is set to marry, she's like huge red flag. they really skate over the fact that like she's literally only known him for like a year total. And he proposed after just like a few months, like really wild. He's like a local dentist. He's like a total, like he sucks. And Iris and Claire like hate him. They were like talking about that before Astrid walked in, but they're like trying to figure out how to tell Astrid that / like how, whether they should, because Astrid didn't really like consult them, like she just was like, I'm engaged.
Well, also, and because they're like, Astrid's really hard to talk to sometimes because like if she can be like super stubborn because of trauma from her mom. He's the worst, and it always makes me very sad when these relationships are in books. And I actually just finished another book in which like the main character's sister is in this type of relationship. And I had to I was listening to the audiobook and I literally had to download the ebook so I could like skip to the part where they would the sister would like break up with the horrible boyfriend. So that I would know like how much more I had to wait. And it took over my entire reading experience. Like I was like, the couple's about to have sex for the first time. I'm like, I don't care. We have 2 more chapters until they break up. Like I need this to happen.
Oh my God.
And I thought that Delilah Green wouldn't make me as sad as it did the first time I read it for like at least the first 50% of the book, but it did. I was still sad. I really like this book, but I think I just have a really strong reaction to that type of like subplot.
So like Claire's POV of like Delilah, she's like, yeah, like Delilah like really sucked and like spent her whole childhood acting like Astrid doesn't exist. So like, why would I like bother to recognize her? Like, she doesn't think of it like that, but she's like basically thinking like she was so mean to my best friend. Like, yeah, they both consider each other their wicked stepsister, which I just feel like if you're the parent, like if you're the one with the parent who's still alive, like you're automatically, if anyone's going to be the wicked stepsister, it's not the one whose parents are dead. Like, right? Like I don't make the rules. I don't know. Like
to be fair, Isabel is incredibly abusive.
Like not to make generalizations, but who's going to stop me? Like,
no,
I don't know.
I like Delilah definitely has more trauma points for sure.
Yeah.
Like she's currently on top.
Like I just feel like you can't be the wicked stepsister unless you have a parent on your side. And like sure, that's possible if like it's possible the non-biological parent could like boldly ditch their own child and team up with you, but like I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But it made me so mad at Isabel. Like it made me extra mad because I was like, you were so horrible. Like you traumatized them both so much that they didn't even get to trauma bond. Like that's how much you traumatized them. Like they didn't even get to trauma bond with each other.
Well, that's pretty common, I think, like in abusive households. And Delilah's like, yeah, when they were over, like Claire would often say hello to me, but I could never figure out why.
this whole book, she's constantly
so
like,
shy.
yeah, it's like really weird. Like
Cinnamon
people
roll,
are being nice to me. Like, what's their ulterior motive?
Oh, or just like not even like I'll just like I just really can't even fathom. I feel like I've been both Claire and Delilah as children. Like I've been both like the person who's like too shy to like really be part of the group and the person who's like because like Iris is more like the jokester. Like she's the one who says like the cool comment. And like I wouldn't say she like actively bullies Delilah, but she's more like willing to just like once it's clear that Delilah doesn't want to hang out with them, she's willing to like lean into the joke and be like, you know.
There were definitely times in this book when I wanted to bully Iris. I was like, you're making me mad a little bit.
Yeah. And Claire is just like wants to like include Delilah and like fix it, but like doesn't really know how and like but like is part of the group still, you know?
Yeah. And now she's like, well, like my kid is now like also really shy and like introspective the way Delilah was. So like we just didn't know how to handle it or whatever. She was like, what
especially like after her dad died.
Yeah. And Claire's not with her baby daddy. Her baby daddy is an absent father, but now he is allegedly back in town for good. Her baby daddy is Christopher from Gilmore Girls. That's sweet.
Pretty much. Yeah, exactly. So if he does eventually get it together, unlike I think Christopher, like he doesn't. Yeah.
I don't know. I never made it that far in Gilmore Girls.
And like he's been fucking up. Like their daughter's name is Ruby.
And honestly, this whole book was like filled with people that like I wanted to fight, but also like understood where they were coming from. And I was like, honestly, fuck you, Ashley Herring Blake, for like creating complex like flawed characters who are realistic people. Like, fuck you for like, I want someone to root for and I want someone to hate, and I don't want to have to think about it. Except for Spencer. Spencer was black and white horrible. I fully hated him. Didn't no like.
Yeah, he was just like a full caricature. Yeah. So next day they have this like brunch that they're all supposed to go to, and the daughter Ruby's supposed to go. And so like the first drama that happens is like Ruby's spending the night at her dad's, and Claire like needs him to get her home to like get dressed or whatever, and he just like is late and is like, sorry, stop for donuts, LOL. Like, and so they walk in
so much,
super late. Yeah,
his whole character throughout the book is making Claire the bad guy. And I just feel like he doesn't like, he gets his shit together at the end, but he never seems to like, I mean, he's such a man. He's a man child. Like they call him that. Like he's such a like, he just like doesn't seem to realize why the things he's doing are like mean.
Right.
or like frustrating. Yeah.
Yeah. Like basically, yeah. So he like delivers the girl like late, and Claire
delivers the girl.
Claire wants her to wear this dress that Astrid got for her to wear. It's like really lace, expensive, purple, like lavender dress. And the girl doesn't want to wear it. Ruby,
why do you keep calling her
I don't know. Because it just seems because I keep saying all these names and I'm like, I don't want the listener to be confused the way I don't know.
But I feel like Ruby is like the one name that's very distinctly different.
Listen, fair. But like we're introducing a lot. I don't know. Listen.
So yeah, so they're about to have like a meltdown when Ruby like doesn't want to wear the dress, and then Delilah comes over, and like obviously she's a hot, cool like lesbian, and Ruby is immediately like, wow, amazing, I'm very much into this. And then she like takes her into the bathroom, and they like, you know, Cinderella style movie cut up the dress and like What a Girl Wants, you know, that scene from the early 2000s teen movie. And then Ruby comes out and she's like, this is great. Like my dress. Boo-hoo.
I can still wear my Docs. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's the Converse. Are Docs the new Converse? Like for that, like where you're
she's not wearing Converse.
No, but I'm saying, no, you know, the like not like other girls. Like I wore my Converse to prom. Right. Like are Docs the new I wore my Converse to prom? Because I feel like kind of. I feel like they kind of are. Like a little bit.
Well, except that Docs are like ostensibly like advertised as like going with anything. So it's not like you're wearing something that doesn't go theoretically.
Yeah, like, but like wearing them to prom, like
sure.
I don't think they're advertised as going with formal wear.
Well, you'd be surprised. Oh, so what we skipped over is that like Delilah, like Astrid had to come like drag Delilah to this brunch, basically like get her to get ready. And that's when they had the combo when Astrid's like, why the fuck were you talking to Claire? Like this is this morning. So like back up for a second before the dress scene. She's like, why were you talking to Claire? Like stay away from my friend. And Delilah's like, Delilah's like, I could get with your friend if I wanted to. And Astrid's like, she would never go for you. And Delilah tries to like bet her. She's like, I bet you. And like Astrid doesn't take it. I bet you I can like, get with her.
Yeah.
And Astrid doesn't take the bet, but like that is like now on the table.
Which honestly is not like that big. It doesn't like,
it's not that
it's
big
really
of a
not
deal.
that big of a conflict like when it eventually comes out.
I mean, it is like the conflict though, I feel like.
But also like I can absolutely see, like I fully 100% mind meld with Delilah if like someone that I didn't like told me that I couldn't get with, like I was like, all right, it's now my mission.
Yeah.
My mission is to now seduce that person. Like you're done.
I wasn't
Tell
trying
me.
to seduce them. Do you want me to seduce them?
Like I like my like, oh, okay. Like
right.
Now it's personal.
Right.
We're
like
gonna
it
get
is on.
Like, sorry, you've awoken the beast.
Right. Like, yeah.
I'm in a rage.
Yeah. So like, yeah. So this is like, Delilah, and it's nice. I think like throughout it's like Delilah bonding with Ruby is like both to like endear her to Claire, but also like it's good setup for like if you're going to be a step parent to this kid.
Yeah, she like teaches Ruby photography, like they bond on their like artsy sides because they're both like artsy like that. Yeah, so Delilah's like walking around taking pictures throughout every event. She's like, I kept feeling my camera point towards Claire. That's weird. I've taken so many pictures of Claire.
Yeah, like how bizarre.
And then because she's decided she's gonna like fuck up every event, she like knocks over the champagne tower, but like in such a way that it's like an accident or whatever. Like she like makes it seem like an accident. Right. And I was like, girl, was that necessary? Like, really?
I was like, passive aggressive. I know it's that what she's. Yeah.
No, but like specifically the knocking down. I was just like, and she is like, oh, well, and then I stayed and like I helped the staff clean it up because like, but I'm like, yeah, like you helped them, but like the staff still had to clean it up.
I know. Like, yeah. No, I know. Delilah, you say you'd want to be, I don't know. Delilah is not, someone I would find like, I don't know. It's not someone you want to be attracted to. I'll put it that way.
No, but I am.
Right. That's not good. Listen.
Delilah at the end of the book,
I guess.
And then Delilah's, the next thing I have, she wanders into the bookstore.
Right. So like, this is a bookstore. This is Claire's bookstore that her mom used to own, that Delilah used to spend like a lot of time in as a kid. And then they're talking and like Claire starts telling her about, something. And like, they just have like a nice moment in the bookstore. And then they're like walking out together. And Delilah's like going to go hit up the bar.
Ruby's there too.
Yeah. Ruby's there.
Like, my girl, Delilah. Whatever.
Yeah. And then Iris shows up like to pick them up or something, or like she's there with a man, and Delilah's like, shit, like who's this man? And then like the man wraps his arm around Iris, and Delilah's like, oh, sigh of relief.
She's like worried that it's ex. Yeah. Oh, they're going to dinner, right? This is when they go to dinner at Wisteria House, which is the name of Astrid's and Claire's child, or Astrid and Delilah's childhood home, right? They're all going to like dinner because like Isabel has like Wednesday night dinner, like Gilmore Girls. This is you know what? The more I'm thinking about that, the more I'm like, this was heavily Gilmore Girls inspired. Like,
who's Lorelai though? You think Claire's not Lorelai at all though?
No. Claire is Lorelai without all the like snarky, like she split Lorelai in half and then made her a couple.
Yeah, I guess. I guess so. But like Delilah doesn't like talk fast and stuff. Yeah, it isn't like,
I'm not saying
like
she's
Emily
exact. I'm not saying
like,
this is like
the
exactly
actual like hero. Yeah, a good person. Yeah.
So they're going to dinner, and Delilah also at this point like realizes that she's never had a friend. Like this is when she has that first thought. She's like, is this what is this strange feeling in my chest? Is it friendship?
So sudden and new. Yeah.
And then when Iris comes, like this is when I was like, this reading is making me not like Iris, which I think is partially because Iris is holding up a mirror to myself, but also because I was like, I just feel like she has the least reason to be mean to Delilah. Like Astrid has their whole childhood trauma. Claire has the fact that like Delilah like tricked her in the bar or whatever. Like I was like, Iris, Delilah's never done anything directly to you, and yet you like with no provocation are just constantly insulting her to her face.
Well, she just like thinks of her as someone who like never liked them and like was, like what it was like too good to like hang out or something. I don't know. So like Delilah is really having trouble. Like she doesn't want to go into this house. Like it's really like triggering for her. And Claire like holds her hand basically as they walk in together. It's nice.
Yeah.
The house smells like lavender and cleaning and like bleach.
Disgusting. Horrible.
Yeah,
My worst
especially for
nightmare.
you. Yeah, exactly.
Instantaneous migraine.
Exactly.
Absolutely not. Oh, and they're having the wedding in the backyard of that house.
I didn't realize that. It seems like a really nice house though. Like I picture
Oh,
this
no,
in the dock.
absolutely.
Like, yeah,
It
really nice
seems like
yard.
this whole town is filled with like really fucking nice houses. Like,
yeah, that makes sense. Listen, so Delilah meets Spencer, and like Spencer's whole thing, like he's just like constantly like asking Claire to do stuff for him. Like that's like one of the many things that, and like, so one of the first things he like
asking
comes
Astrid.
up, yeah, Astrid. He's like, I need more champagne, babe. Help a guy out. Delilah fought an eye roll. Cishet white men and their proprietary pet names. That's what I'm saying about the pet names. Like finally someone who gets it. Like why? Like, listen.
Oh, yeah. And he's always slapping Astrid on the butt.
He's like, she's a good, yeah.
Spencer, yeah, he's like, she's a good girl. And then
Mhm.
they're like, good woman. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're bopping around. At this point is when Claire is like, we can't let her marry him.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's like relieved that Delilah like believes them, because like agrees like immediately, because she's like, it could have just been, is it just like me and Iris?
Right. Well, yeah, because that's her whole thing. She's like, that's why she's like, we can't let her marry him, because she's like, this stranger who doesn't even like Iris saying that this guy is a dick. So like, he's definitely a dick. Yeah. Exactly. But they're like, there's nothing we can really point to like specific that is like why he's like sucks so much.
The constant demands are like a pretty,
I don't know.
And like the quick engagement. I don't know.
Yeah. But then, so while, Delilah knocking over the champagne tower was not necessary, in my opinion. The next thing that she does was very necessary. I was like, this is the type of chaos that you should be causing, Delilah, and that is pushing Spencer into the lake.
Yep. She's phenomenal. She's like, hold my keys, Claire. Like, hold my phone, hold my camera.
She'll hold my camera.
And then like pretends like it's an accident. She's like, Spencer, like, look at these muscles. Whoops. Like,
yeah. And she goes in the water too. Like, so she's fully committed to the bit. Yeah. She's like, how could I have tripped him if I got wet too?
Yeah. It's as like he's saying something like I think right before that, he's like, yeah. It's like someone's like, are you guys gonna have kids? And he's like, yeah, 3 boys as soon as we settle down in Seattle. And like Astrid doesn't even want to move. It's really giving Gaston from Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
10 boys. Yeah.
5 dozen eggs. I wonder whether it's Spencer is driving up the egg prices in the United States.
He's blonde Gaston.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm so sorry, Delilah said before. Yeah. Like, because in a way, Delilah, this is where I was like, in real life, like I get this is book characters, so like obviously it's all gonna work out, but like in real life, like Delilah in a way like does the same thing that Josh, Claire's ex, does, where like she's just like constantly making people feel like they overreacted and something was like no big deal or like an accident, like basically gaslighting. Like the champagne tower, like if someone were to get mad at her, she'd be like, it's an accident, or like this.
Yeah,
she's like, why are you? Yeah, I know it feels justified from our perspective, but like, yeah, I don't know. She's
the Spencer thing. I feel like everybody feels like it's justified, except for Astrid. But but
still, it's the same method. Like, I don't know, even if we think the motives are better.
But like, I don't know. Like Josh isn't doing it. Yeah, I don't know. Josh isn't doing it
that we know.
Like he's oblivious. I don't know.
We don't get Josh's POV.
I know, but I don't think you're supposed to think Josh is a bad guy. You're supposed to think he's like flaky, but he's not like vindictive.
Oh, sure. Well, so then in a way, Delilah's worse. Like, I don't know.
I'm saying it's like a similar, it's the same thing. You know what this is, Rachel? It's the Nesta Elaine. You know what I mean? And I'm always going to be pro the person who is 100% open about being horrible versus the person who's just horrible without even meaning to. Next thing about is the bachelor party.
Spa weekend. And it's going to be all 4 of the girls, Astrid and her friends, and then Delilah. And like,
my worst nightmare.
My
worst nightmare happens.
That's your worst nightmare? I just don't understand why this is that big. Like, so what happens is Astrid forgot to book a room for Delilah. Like, and it turns, it actually it turns out it makes sense because like she wasn't even sure Delilah was going to come and she was planning to call back, but she was just like, in the wedding prep, she was flustered. And they're acting like this is like the end of the world. Like, God forbid. And I'm like, I just don't understand. They're here for like a night or 2. Why is this a problem? Like, these are lifelong friends. Why couldn't 2 or even like all of them? Why aren't they all already sharing a room? Like, I just don't get it.
I don't
like
know.
The point is a girl's weekend. Why wouldn't like I right? Like why would you not even be sharing a room? Like I just don't get it. There's plenty of room. It's like a king size bed. You probably could have got queens. Like
Sure.
they're acting
No,
like
listen, it's my worst nightmare, specifically the idea of being invited to something and then getting there and finding out that like
there's no
like
bed.
something where you have to make a reservation that like they forgot me. Like that is my worst nightmare. Not the necessary like, oh no, you got to share a room at the spa weekend, but like the idea of like being forgotten in such a big way is very sad to me. So that's why I fully get. I think we get this from Claire's perspective, like, and I think that's what Claire's thinking. She's not like, oh, like it sucks that we have to share a room. She's like, I see Delilah is very sad.
Yeah.
Like light goes out in her eyes, which is because
why that's not something I'm so scared. Yeah.
Oh, this is a note I wrote later down, but Claire is like frequently she's frequently like reading like Delilah's eyes. Like she's like, oh, Delilah's eyes did this, and like now I've correctly read her emotion. Like that's like a theme. And then like later, like I think Delilah's like the eyes are the window to the soul or like whatever. But like I put like up a guard in front of mine, so like nobody could read it. But I was like, but Claire could always read you.
She's always like saying things which literally just avoid an attack. She's like, I want to die inside, but I'm pretending to be okay on the outside. Yeah.
So Delilah and Claire have to share one bed.
Yeah. So it worked out. It's a good gimmick.
And Delilah's like, I feel some type of way about sharing a room with Claire. Like, I'm definitely not excited. Like, definitely not that.
I don't get excited.
But like,
that's not.
I feel a type of way.
I feel. Yeah. And they have like a nice night, basically, like out sipping champagne. Delilah's like, wow, in another life, I might have actually liked Iris a lot.
She's like, friends? Are these friends?
How bizarre.
What is this feeling?
Yeah, she's like, what is this feeling whenever Iris or Claire glance at me or tap my foot under the table? Because they've also all like basically like Iris and Claire. Iris is basically like, all right, we're all in on this together now. Like we are breaking up Astrid and Spencer. And so they're all just like, yeah. Oh.
And Delilah's like, just in it for the gag. Like Iris and Claire are in it to like protect their friend. And like Delilah's just like, this is hilarious.
She always thought it would be really funny to like mess up the wedding. Like in her contract, she still gets paid. She said, this feeling beneath my ribcage about to spill over. It's so weird. Isn't this nice? Absolutely wonderful. And it was.
So these dumbasses decide that the best way to break up Astrid and Spencer is not by talking with her like adults, but by hijinks.
Well, no, they kind of try it. Like they tried it first. This is how like Astrid like storms away from dinner because they bring up like Anne of Green Gables. They're like, you never told us how Spencer proposed.
Yeah, but they're not. See, that's the thing. They're doing it in a roundabout way. They're trying to like make her realize like how much instead of just sitting down and being like, hey,
well, because that can
we
so
think
backfire.
This guy sucks.
Well, yeah, that can so backfire. Like that's not clearly the best or possibly even a feasible path for most people, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway. Oh yeah. And this is the point where Delilah has a she like really loved books as a kid. And she was like, yeah, it was so weird. Sometimes Astrid would leave books on my bed after she finished reading them so we could talk. I don't know why. I have no idea. Like how weird that she would do that. And like Anne of Green Gables was one of those books. And she was like, well, I thought Anne and Diana should have been together. But like, I'll accept Gilbert Blythe. Like fine.
Presented my theory. Yeah.
But she's like, I was like, Delilah, oh come on. That was so very clearly like an outreach thing. But I was like, I feel like even as like a shy, like insecure kid, like I would know, like, okay, this probably means someone wants to talk to me more often.
Oh, I don't know.
Like someone like giving me a book and wanting to talk about it on a regular basis.
I guess the wanting to talk about it is the bit that she like didn't fully put together. She's like, she's giving me her hand-me-down books. I don't know. I can't say that I would. Stepsister with the hand-me-down. Or basically they're like, yeah, exactly. They're like, Astrid, like you always wanted this like great proposal. Like how did Spencer propose? And Astrid's like, basically like, they're like, we can see like Delilah's like, even I can see it happening. Like a famous Astrid shutdown. And Astrid's just like, I'm tired. I have a migraine and like leaves. And so like,
which that isn't an instance of the character like underrepresenting migraines because it is canon that Astrid gets migraines from wine, but drinks it anyway. That is mentioned at some point in this book. I remember like
Might be Claire, because Astrid, dead ass in the book. I know this in the second book. Like literally one of the first things she does is pretend to have her very first migraine to get out of a meetup.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it might be Claire or like Iris or something.
Somebody, yeah, whatever.
She's
okay.
really bold. Would you ever drink
No.
wine? Like,
I don't drink wine anymore
That's why I don't
for
really
that
believe.
express purpose.
Yeah, I never drank
like
wine.
maybe it gives you a
gives me
bad
headache.
hangover, but it doesn't give you a migraine.
What do you mean?
Like maybe wine, like
You would
gives
still
you a
drink
head-
wine if it gave you a bad hangover. No, wine does give me headaches.
Delilah is like, this is weird that I have friends, and then her and Claire are bonding in their one bed, and they support each other's dreams, like Claire expanding the bookshop or whatever. And then like Delilah, oh, we forgot to mention Delilah is getting a show at the Whitney.
Oh yeah,
we forgot to mention this happens very early on.
Yeah.
I knew I was forgetting to mention something. The L person she slept with knew someone, like is friends with like a curator at the Whitney, and they're doing like a queer artist like show. And then he calls her and he's like, we had someone drop out. Like, do you want, like, I saw your piece. Like, do you want to be on our show? So like Delilah is really excited about that.
Yeah.
Totally forgot. It's like big.
And she tells Claire about her photography and like how she got started in it. She like hasn't really told anyone. And I don't think she told her, like, she started as a kid, like taking pictures just like around town. And like she used to like take secretly pictures of like Iris or of like Astrid and Iris and Claire. And she's like, yeah, I was studying them for clues of what made them so acceptable, what made me so weird. Like other than some makeup and clothes from Nordstrom, she could never figure it out. It's like, oh, I get it. Listen. And she's like, Claire's still somehow interested in the story.
Yeah. And then Claire is the inspiration behind her art, behind her whole, like her art style is like angry queer women. Like that's her like vibes. And the very first picture she took in that was like 5 years ago when she was in town after Jax cheated on her, and like Claire ran into the river for whatever reason and like
no, because it was the first time that Josh left, and like
no, it was the most recent time that Josh left or something. Yeah. He left again,
like permanently, yeah, like long term, yeah. And like Delilah, I guess we didn't say that Delilah like kind of had a crush on Claire as kids. Like she's like, that's part of like how I realized I was queer.
Yeah, and she's like, when Claire came out as bisexual, like in high school, like it was so amazing. Exciting. Obviously, I wouldn't have acted on it, but like, wow.
Yeah.
And you know what? And good for Claire. She is not in any way a little freaked out by the fact that Delilah hid in the bushes and took pictures of her in a vulnerable moment. She's like, wow, that's really cool. And then they start making out.
Oh yeah. And then
they start making out. And then Astrid cock blocks.
Yeah, Astrid like starts pounding on the door and is like, open up. And it's literally just, this is like 11 p.m. at night. And she's like, yeah, there's another room available for Delilah. Get going. I just don't even, it's just so bold. I guess it's just not that big of a deal to me to share a room with some, like, especially, I just don't get it. They're all such close friends. It's literally only for a night or two.
I don't know. I guess it's like the whole, maybe there's some stuff that like you can get in your room.
The concept of like moving all your stuff though in the middle of the night also, like,
oh yeah. I'd be like, I'm just going to stay here. Like, thanks. But like,
exactly. So like, why not? Yeah. It's like, I don't know.
They're constantly doing last minute things because the next thing they do is they plan a camping trip. That's very true. Spontaneously, like the next day, they're like, we're going to go on a camping trip. And I was like, I cannot imagine. Ashley Herring, have you ever been camping? Like, I literally cannot imagine like being like, yes, tomorrow, let us go on an overnight camping trip.
Well, they live in Oregon. I guess that's like a thing. They still have like, supplies.
Like, wow. And I don't recall what triggered me to write this down, but I just wrote like Astrid and Delilah so clearly like love each other so much, but they're so traumatized that they don't know how to say it. Like, I just feel like constantly, like they're constantly having these interactions where like, they're both like, I want you to be my friend and my sister, but like, it just ends up with them fighting.
Yeah. And like how many times Delilah thinks that about how Iris could have been friends. And it was like, I wrote like this like really breaks my heart for like all the lost time. Like it's like the prison movies where the person is like unfairly, like it's like it's like, you know, that type of thing where it's like they're in there for like 20 years and it's like, yeah, I'm really happy you got out. But like the fact that it's been this much time, right? Like, yeah, that's what it kind of made me feel. So also Delilah, I don't know if she shows Claire her Instagram or like something. Her Instagram comes out and like oh, she's hanging out with like Ruby, and Ruby's like, oh yeah, like I saw your pictures on your Instagram. And Delilah's like, you know about my Instagram?
She has
And
like
Claire's
200,000
like,
followers, listener.
yeah.
She's
And
like
like
shocked.
she's like, yeah, I've never shown Astrid my work, not ever. And Astrid's like, right. I was like, because I've been thinking this whole time, I was like, and they still asked you to be your wedding photographer. And Astrid's like, yeah, how do
Yeah.
you think I knew I would like your pictures? Like that would have been really bold of me to hire you. Like, and it would have. Like, that's actually really, yeah. Like she's like, of course we found your Instagram. Like,
she's like, it comes up when you Google your name. Like, it's not like you're
and
hiding
Delilah's
under a
like,
pseudonym.
you thought about me enough to Google me?
Like, oh my God.
They would have to even Google me. They would have had to give half a shit about me.
Yeah. So they're also impressed. And then she goes outside and teaches Ruby how to like take pictures. And like they take a picture of a bird bath. And like obviously, oh yeah. And she's like, she gets Ruby to do a tattoo for her. She's like, I want you to draw a tattoo. No, she doesn't, but she's like, I want you to draw a tattoo. And I was like, that is quite frankly the cutest thing that I have ever heard in my entire life. Like, that's so fucking cute. I love that. Yeah. So this Ruby was like getting in a fight with Claire because like Josh was like, let's go camping. And Claire was like, he didn't ask me. And like, now I look like a bitch if I say no. And then they all decide they're like, they do like a,
it's weird.
Meredith Blake. They all decide to go camping together.
Yeah.
Like all the three friends plus Delilah plus Josh and Ruby. And like, I'm like, okay. And like, but I'm like, once again, like not even like Astrid doesn't even like the outdoors. How does she spontaneously go on this camping trip? I don't understand.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So it's Oregon life. I'm willing to like fully buy into
that.
Like,
I mean,
it's just like that's a normal thing to do, which makes no sense because it rains all the time, but like, I don't know.
And then Ruby goes to a sleepover. That's what she like leaves. She goes to her friend's house for a sleepover. And Claire's like, do you want to come in for a drink of wine? And Delilah's like, yeah, absolutely, I do. And they do like a weird tarot. Like tarot is very important in this series. And
it is.
I just feel like it requires sometimes, it feels like in order for me to fully appreciate it, because I read the second book. What?
Oh, okay. Well, you just didn't remember as much about it. Okay.
No, I didn't remember so much about it. But I feel like I feel like I would appreciate this more if I knew more about tarot, but like I don't know shit about tarot. Right. And like I feel like Ashley, you're assuming that I have some like knowledge that I don't have.
Maybe I'm just boldly like assuming that I'm getting more from it than I actually am. Like, I feel like I don't know.
I don't know.
She'll say like it's this card and this card means this and like
yeah. But they're playing with a deck that's like historical ladies, but also insects. I don't know.
Oh, because I remember because we had some Jane Eyre slander, which I thought was funny just to throw in.
Yes.
Yeah, because she's like, oh my gosh, are you gonna bite my head off later? Like someone says that.
Yeah.
And then Claire's like, praying mantises only bite their lovers' heads off. Like, ha ha ha. Like,
and then they have an awkward moment. It's like
anyway.
And then at one point, Delilah calls Spencer Ken, like a Ken doll, like obviously in a derogatory way. And I was like, I understand the Barbie reference, but in light of the recent Barbie movie discourse, I will not tolerate any Ken slander any longer. Because yes, Ken is a hot, dumb man, but he is 1000 support. Like his whole character is supporting Barbie in her 1 million careers. Like his whole character is like loving Barbie.
What side of Barbie movie discourse have you been on? Because I've been on the like it's gonna be lesbian, like the Kens and Hits Different and Taylor Swift song, like that's gonna be part of it, and like it's gonna be okay. Yeah, no. I don't know what like weird.
But not even in the Barbie movie. I'm saying that's the Ken doll's character. Is just like
Kendall's character is just that he's interchangeable and like doesn't do anything.
Is that he's being there to love Barbie and to serve as the cheater in the cheating plot lines of every teenage girl's doll activities. What? You never had a drama where like another doll, like your Bratz doll, caught like her boyfriend, like Ken, cheating on her with like another?
No,
it's like a regular.
Okay,
for me. Or anyway, now it's sexy time. They have sexy time and they use teeth and tongue and mouth, a variation.
And there's an impressive lesbian simultaneous orgasm.
Claire and Delilah get in a fight about Claire hiding her because Claire's like, we can't tell my kid, we can't tell Astrid, like whatever. And like Delilah feels sad. And she's like, quote, pressure built behind her eyes like she was going to release something. And she's like, not realizing what crying feels. She's like, I don't know what tears feel.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Release something. I don't know. What is it, Delilah?
When you cry, like, is it possible for you to cry and not have like the voice, like hitch, like the breath? Like, have you ever cried and like still been able to like talk normally, like maintain like a normal conversation?
No, but I've never tried.
Okay. You can't think of like, okay.
Usually when I cry, it's like a big cry. Like I don't
Right.
really cry very
Just
casually.
like
It's usually like
tears
a
coming out. Yeah.
no, yeah. It doesn't. Yeah. So now they go camping, and Spencer is the one who pulls a Meredith Blake on them because he comes in the camping trip with his leather sneakers. Could you imagine what those looked like? What do leather sneakers
Yeah,
look
I can
like?
imagine them. I feel like Stephanie used to have some. I'll find you a picture.
Like what? Just like the Adidas sneakers?
Yeah, like brown top, white bottom. Not Adidas. Oh, like that would be even more normal. I was picturing like brown, like these
Yeah, I was
kind of
picturing
thing.
brown. That's why I
No, I'll
couldn't
send you a picture of exactly what I was
picture
picturing,
it.
except like this, but like I was picturing it with like laces, but like
But yeah, so Josh like wants to take Ruby to the hot springs, and Claire is like, worried about it or whatever. And Josh like having the audacity to being like, I'm never going to be good enough for you, am I? And I'm like, you have spent the last decade abandoning her and her child, and you've only been
your
back
child.
for 2 months. 2 months. Like it's okay. It's very normal for her not to trust you with her child.
Yeah.
Like I'm not even calling it their child. Like it's Claire's child. Like Claire's the parent. I was like, the audacity. Like you could for at least another 10 years, you need to shut your trap, Josh. And then you can complain about her not trusting you. Like,
yeah, seriously. Iris, Claire, and Astrid have like a very traumatic hike that
no, not Claire.
Iris, Astrid, and Spencer, because Spencer's an asshole and like makes them get lost and like almost die. Claire ditches them to like go check on Delilah because Delilah like decides to stay back. And
they have
like,
a horny
Claire's
crying
anxious, avoidant, yeah, snuggling.
And then they put cayenne pepper in Spencer's.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, oh God, that would actually be really bad, right? Like,
yeah. And it kind of backfires on them because like that just makes Astrid like disappear like into the tent with him, and then they like can't talk to her.
God,
I love that Josh is like, yeah, it's like so weird. I thought I brought more cayenne pepper.
Oh yeah, like when he's cooking for them. Yeah.
Yeah. So Delilah like comes out of her tent, I think with the intention of hooking up with Claire. Or like Claire and her were gonna have a hookup, but then like Claire falls asleep or something. And then like Delilah comes out of her tent, and her and Astrid have like a midnight heart to heart.
With the weird sex talk thing. Yeah.
Isabel was like, you have to endure it.
It won't be fun. Makes your husband happy. Yeah.
I was like, are you like, what? So like canonically, Delilah Green's dad was bad and like Mr. Green was bad and bad.
Yeah.
Or like at least not a generous lover.
Right. Or Isabel's like asexual. Like,
yeah. And she just like
doesn't like sex.
starfished it. Like,
right. I don't know.
I
know. Delilah makes that joke. She's like, you know how disturbing this is, considering she was married to my dad. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah. It's very disturbing.
Not funny. Haha. Funny. Weird. That's just like, yeah, it's kind of why I feel like I have to say yes all the time. Like no matter what, like it's how my mom like raised me.
Yeah. Because Astrid remembered the like words like verbatim, like
And so I was like, oh, see, I think I heard the word husband. And I was like, right, that's not for me. I'm gonna zone out. I get it. Like the way that I also have that ability to just like zone out completely and like not.
Oh yeah, like you get to a part of the conversation where like, okay, I'm done. I'll switch.
Yeah,
not for me.
Yeah. Tune in next week.
Yeah, so they go home from camping.
They go to a cute roller skating date, and
Claire and Delilah.
Yeah, and Claire's like, I know like Delilah only does casual, like Delilah doesn't do relationships, but like just want to like tell her that I want her to stay, like whatever.
Yeah.
Iris and Claire go to pick up Astrid for something event, and they witness.
It's like a dinner. They're going to Seattle for like it's some other wedding event. Like that's just the three of them.
Who cares? Yeah,
I know, matter. But I've spent the last 15 minutes trying to remember what it was.
I don't know. They might have just been able to hang out. Yeah, Delilah's not going, but they witness a huge breakup fight between Spencer and Astrid, which is too convenient. Like that they just happened to break up. I don't know. It's that kind of makes all the give like what did you call them, shenanigans, hijinks, like pointless, but I don't know, I guess like it all kind of came to a head. So Spencer bought a house in Seattle without telling Astrid. Astrid does not want to move to Seattle, obviously does not want to live in a house that she hasn't been consulted in, And they break up and that's the end of it, which I was like only happens in books.
Yeah. And then they all talk it out, Astrid, Iris, and Claire all talk it out or whatever. So then they go tell Isabel. And Isabel's naturally horrible.
Right. The fact they go immediately is impressive. I guess it's a little bit later, but
yeah.
Yeah, it's horrible.
And then Delilah overhears Isabel essentially being like,
you're the one who had to have your sister here. Like, I didn't want her here. She's probably her fault that you guys broke up. Lila's has this whole mind spiral. She's like, wait, Astrid's the one who wanted me here? What?
Yeah.
Why didn't Delilah get any inheritance money from her dad?
That's what I was wondering. I was like, why is Wisteria House Isabel?
Weird.
I mean, I guess they bought it together, because
yeah,
or maybe it was Isabel's and then her and her dad just moved in.
No, I think they bought it together, but I guess that is how that works. It does go to your spouse or whatever. Your spouse.
But you can definitely leave your kid something.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can choose to change it. Yeah, I don't know. And he had a business and Isabel just sold it. Yeah, I don't know. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Oh, and it's fun that shot, the place where he had his business is no one's ever been able to have a successful business there since Mr. Green's architecture firm or whatever.
I didn't miss that. So Delilah walks upstairs, get out of the scene and walks into Astrid's bedroom for some reason.
Because her bedroom's been turned into they got rid of all of her shit.
Immediately, and Astrid's hasn't. And she finds Astrid's journals that she was always writing and basically reads them and they're all she's looking for her name. She's I tried to hang out with Delilah today, but she doesn't want to. I went to the bookstore. I asked her, she'd always go to the bookstore. I asked her to go and she said no. So logical conclusion, she just doesn't want to go to the bookstore with me.
Aww.
Yeah.
The whole thing is just filled, and then it's teenage Astrid, that's child Astrid, and then teenage Astrid is my mom is so horrible, but Delilah has the right idea because she got her to ignore the mom to ignore her or whatever, but then she's my sister hates me and everyone hates me. It's very sad, and Delilah realizes she was wrong about everything, and then Claire comes in and comforts her, and Claire asks her to stay, and they start making out, and then Astrid finds them making out in her childhood bedroom, which honestly, even apart from the fact that her quote unquote evil stepsister and her best friend, her maid of honor, are making out, the fact that it's in her childhood bedroom, this is how she has to find out. Horrible.
Yeah.
Poor Astrid.
It really is. Yeah.
Astrid freaks out, then she brings up the bed, and then Delilah does diet, and then Delilah leaves, and Claire doesn't go after her. And then Delilah leaves Bright Falls altogether. She goes to New York. She puts us off. But they have bigger fish to fry because Josh has once again disappeared, allegedly. And she's like, oh my God, fuck this dude. My child is very sad. And Ruby just got a phone and Josh isn't answering his texts or whatever. And then Josh appears at the door, and it turns out he just didn't have cell service for 2 days. And
well, yeah, but it's also really bold. The way that he yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really add up. I mean, we're expected to believe it, but he basically has been building a house in the next town over. Unclear why he wouldn't just live in the same town. That just seems, I know it's only half an hour away, but it just seems unnecessarily inconvenient. But yeah. And he's let me show you, I promise, I've committed, I'm starting a company, a construction company. I'm not just doing jobs for someone else.
Josh is still horrible. Iris punches him, and they all agree that it was well-deserved. Even Ruby, who comes out, is well done. Definitely well-deserved. And so that's lovely. But Claire is still sad, and everyone keeps saying, even Josh, that Delilah was in love with her. And she's why? Claire's just why does everyone keep saying Delilah was in love with me? That's why she left. No way, Jose.
Yeah, Delilah left because she thought Claire didn't want her, but also because of the aforementioned Whitney show. And so we catch Delilah at the show. It's going really well. Astrid shows up. Astrid flies in for it and to apologize, and they have a heart to heart. And Astrid's yeah, I'm sorry, we have a lot of work to do, but I was always why didn't you come visit me at home? Why didn't you ever come home? But I never once thought of coming to you to visit you.
Yeah, she was I was always so mad that you wouldn't come home for holidays, but in 10 years I've never flown to New York ever to see you.
Right.
Yeah. And one of the photographs that's at the show is the one of Claire, and Astrid is someone's gonna want to see that one, Delilah. You should show someone that. And Delilah does, because the next day Claire comes in to open the bookshop, and it's been a running thing that she's like, I don't know how to decorate the bookshop. Like all the walls are blank.
Mm-hmm.
And then Delilah has decorated them with all of her prints of like Claire and her friends and family and everyone. And then like the picture of her in the river. And then Delilah's there. Brr, 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 brr.
Yeah.
And they make up. Delilah's like, I'm going to stay. I'm going to move here. I have an agent. And she's like, why? Like, you got to be in New York. And like, I was just thinking, like, I mean, she's a photographer. Like, does she doesn't really have to be in New York. She has an agent. I was like, does she? Like,
she doesn't. Yeah. It turns out she doesn't, because she's like made that deal and everything's great.
Yeah. And there's no epilogue, which I was very upset the first time I read this. There's no epilogue. And I understand that, like, I know that the second book, and I'm sure, I feel like the third book will probably have an epilogue.
Even more.
But I was still like, I want an epilogue. I just want an epilogue of like her, Claire and Ruby having like a spaghetti dinner or something, or like getting a dog, something like that. Like,
and it turns out that Delilah Green does care about Claire.
Although at one point during, like, right before they break up, Claire's like, Delilah Green didn't care. And I was like, roll credits. There it is. I don't think I
wrote that down. I wrote that down for you. Delilah Green didn't care. I said roll credits. We like skipped over it in my note. Like, I was like,
I also wrote credits. That, and I skipped over it because I couldn't remember the context. Delilah Green doesn't care. Roll credits.
It was like, like Iris, Claire has the thought or something. She's like, she wouldn't want to be in a relationship with me because she just doesn't care.
Yeah. Wait, you're reading the second book right now, which is called Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail. Is that ever said? Has any? Because I don't remember it being said.
I forgot.
But I also didn't remember it being said in Delilah Green
I wasn't thinking about it because it wasn't as catchy of a title to me for some reason. I don't know.
No, I also like I feel like the third one is also not a super catchy title.
What is it?
It's like Iris something doesn't date
Kelly,
or something.
Iris Kelly doesn't date.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Why is Delilah Green Doesn't Care so much more catchy though? Because it doesn't even rhyme.
I think it's because I think this was honestly one of the first. No, I guess like Eleanor Oliphant, like that like style of naming things, of like name something like verb.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's usually like something like innocuous like that. I don't know. I just feel like failing, and like, I don't know. There's just something that's not as like, I don't know, relatable. I don't know. Doesn't care just feels more relatable or something. I don't know. I don't think that's the right word. I don't know. It just feels like more.
It sounds possibly more like romance related.
Well, doesn't date is very.
That's true. Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't like that.
It might just be like the number of syllables, like the fact the name Delilah has something like to do with that.
That's true. Iris and Astrid are only 2 syllables.
And yet they are somehow all the same name. Nevertheless.
They're also mostly flower names. Almost all of them. Iris and Astrid. Isn't Astrid like based on a flower?
You're thinking of Aster.
Yes, I am. But Delilah, isn't it like Delia's? I don't know. I just feel like flowers.
I can see it. It's like vaguely floral
themes. Mm-hmm. That's what they all felt. That's what I thought you were going to say initially, that they're all like floral names. But then you went on your like I thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'm riding with this. All right. Cat scale, baby.
I don't know. I guess Delilah's a dog. I mean, sorry, a cat.
A cat, yeah.
Yeah, like pretty cat-like.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and I feel like Astrid's a cat too. Because they're both like, takes a while for them to warm up to you, but once you like, they do like eternal loyalty, which is very cat-like. I feel like.
Yeah, for sure. Like protection, avoidance as protection. Yeah. Yeah. Whereas dogs, it's like the fawn response. Which is kind of Astrid, but Astrid's kind of like that. Like, I don't know. She always says yes. Like she can't. Well, yeah, it's interesting because like, we get very different. Like, I feel like it's not a very cohesive picture of that. Like, it's weird that we're saying that she's like a people pleaser, but also like hard to please, like hard standoffish. I don't know. Okay. Ready?
All right.
3, 2, 1, 7.
5. All right. Good old 6. 6 is in 69.
It's not even a good joke. A great joke.
You know, it's a good joke. It's a great joke.
All right, Allison, where can they find us?
You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at We Read It One Night, on Twitter at We Read It Podcast. And you can find us at Evelyn and Adelaide on Etsy. That's our Etsy shop. And it has some pretty great stuff on it. And there'll be even more stuff on it by the time this episode comes out. And though that shop is named after our cats, by the way, in case that wasn't obvious, because we have a brand and we stick to it. And that is Cat Lady. Make sure you leave us a rating and review too. It's the best way to freely support the pod. It's free. Everyone loves free things. All you got to do is click a button.
Godspeed, comrades.
Godspeed.